Alrighty, welcome back. In this video we're going to do a very simple metal texture. This one will be something like a brushed aluminum or a brushed stainless steel. So I've got a 1024 document and I'm going to set a gray somewhere between all white and 50%. Probably not quite halfway. Which will give us a nice gray like that. Now, the gray we set here will tend to determine kind of what this metal looks like, or what type of metal this looks like. If you want something a little grungier to start with, you would use a darker one, but I'm looking for something pretty clean. And I'm going to go ahead and create some noise, around 25%. For this, I prefer a uniform distribution. You can use Gaussian and see what you get, but I like the subtlety of the grain a little better. Monochromatic checked. And then I'm going to run one more filter. I'm going to run blur, motion blur, angle at 0, and a distance of about 30 pixels. We can push this out if you want, but it's going to get pretty icky if you get very high. Yeah, 31's fine. Now, I don't know how well you can see it in the video, but if you're following along, you should be able to see that on yours, you're getting some artifacts around the left and right edges. That's a pretty easy fix. We're just going to go to our crop tool. We're going to bring this in a little bit. And I don't usually recommend resing things up, but for just a little bit like this, it's going to work fine. So we'll crop that out. And now we don't have those artifacts, but we also no longer have a 1024 texture. So we're going to come to image size, and you can see that's been cut down. And we're just going to bump that back up. So we have a nice 1024 texture again. Alright, now that's an excellent base texture. We can save that out. We don't even have extra layers, and it'll make a good starter point for a lot of metal work that we do with textures later. But there are a few things that we can do to punch this up a little bit. Now, one of the first things that I like to do is to actually add in a little bit of distress, very lightly. So I'm going to create a new layer. First thing I'm going to do is double click on my layer to bring up my layer styles. And I'm going to check bevel and emboss. And smooth is fine, and inner bevel is what we want. Depth 100% is fine. You've probably got this on up. We want it on down. And 1 or 2 pixels. I'm going to work with 1 for this one because I want this to be, again, very subtle. So we've got that set, and now we're going to do a little trick. We're going to grab our brush, grab a nice hard brush, make sure we're down at 1 pixel. I am going to go in, going to tighten my spacing up a little. I'm going to go into shape dynamics and give it just a little bit of jitter, which you really won't even be able to see on this small a line, but it'll help just to give a little detail. And now the last and most important thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fill down to 0. Why would I do that? Because there's not going to be any color. Well, that's exactly why. So there's not going to be any color. All I want is the actual layer style applied. So then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to sweep back and forth here. And maybe do a little bit in other directions. I'm going to avoid making any circular motions for this. This will be really, really hard to see on screen. It'll probably be pretty hard to see even on your own screen with your own work. I'm going to go up. I'm actually just going to take this to 2 pixels. and do just a little bit more. And I'll do a couple spots here just so we can really see what's going on. And again, depending on the resolution, it might be hard to see here. But if you do this on your own, you'll start to see these scratches come out. Just to give it a little bit of wear. Give it a little bit more realism. And there we go. This is an excellent place to save out our texture. As is the case with most of these for texture library, it's not a bad idea to save one with just the base, and then save another one with your scratches on it as a separate file. And this is really handy for things. If we add another layer here, I'm going to go over, grab my gradient tool. I'm going to hit D to make this black and white. X to make white my foreground. And I'm going to grab this gradient, the reflected gradient, because we're trying to create a reflection. And somewhere right around the middle, I'm going to pull this out to an odd spot like over here. And I'm just going to take this, I think probably soft light maybe. That might not be enough. Screen's really going to blow it out. Yeah, multiply is not bad. And also we can really see the scratches appear more when we do this. So this isn't really something you need for the base texture. This is just a demonstration of taking the base texture and perhaps creating a background piece for the web or something like that from it. It's pretty slick and easy. Alright, this will cover this really simple metal. I'll see you guys in the next video.